Blackburn.
Good morning, friends and neighbors. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. It was sunshine aplenty. It was great weather for the Kjipuktuk Foundation walk run for the community that I participated in yesterday. A little bit of gardening in. Hope you had an opportunity to spend some time outside and recharge those batteries. We got a big show coming up today. We have a couple of Halifax City Councillors sitting before me that are ready to take your calls. Coming up, we've got an open hour starting at 11, so that's when we throw the doors open to you. At noontime, we're going to be talking about the gun buyback plan and just getting a handle on what it could mean politically. Bus service in East Hants, it's coming, but not all folks are getting on board. We'll speak to a councillor over there and find out what's going on. Also going to discuss the fallout for students at DAL after the 3-week strike earlier this semester. We'll speak to the student union rep, find out how they are feeling now that classes are back on. Also, we're going to tee up Truth and Reconciliation Day in Halifax. But first, joining us in the studio this morning, incredibly happy to have the birthday girl with us. We have Trish Purdy from District 4, Cole Harbour, Preston, Westphal, and Cherrybrook, celebrating a birthday today. Good morning and welcome.
Thank you very much, Lisa. First of all, it's really good to see you here in the hot seat with us.
Thank you for joining us. And on the other side of the microphone, John Young, District 14, Hammonds Plains, Upper Hammonds Plains, Lucasville, Middle, and Upper Sackville. Welcome, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Lisa. Yeah. It's nice to see you on the other side of the desk there.
It's, this is kind of new. Trish, I mentioned it was your birthday today. This is a big birthday. And there's 2 other councillors that have birthdays today.
Fun fact. There are 3 of us on council that share the same birthday.
September the 29th.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Who are the other 2?
We have Kathy Daigle-Gammon and Catherine Morse. So a big happy birthday to those 2 today.
Fantastic. So listen, the reason that we have the councillors in every week is so we can turn things over to you. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Well, you guys had council, so no council this week.
No.
But there was council last week. Guys kicked some more money into the affordable housing kitty, I understand. Another $1.5 million from the density bonus reserve to support nonprofits and charitable housing projects. How are you feeling about? How are you guys feeling about that?
I'll take it. I think it's good. Yeah. It's good. It's needed. It's also the supports there for the housing and the other organizations that need it.
Yeah, I mean, Halifax as a municipality really limited in what they can do to help tackle housing. But one thing they can do is with that density bonus reserve to give that money to nonprofits that, the experts in the community that are doing that work.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's not much that we can do as HRM. So this is one thing that absolutely is very helpful.
All right, and another thing that you guys took care of last week was Dartmouth Cove. What's going on with that? It looks like you guys want to restrict the infilling activities over at Dartmouth Cove.
So that's now going to be going to a public hearing.
Okay.
I don't have the date on that, but I assume it would be sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
There's a big public outcry for this, and just wanting to make sure that the right decisions are made with what ability HRM does have, which is
there's
questionable.
Ongoing environmental concerns. My understanding of that file is it's a big headache environmentally speaking.
Yes and no. I mean, one of the big issues is the paralytic slate needs to be deposited properly in salt water. So this is one option, but also a big disruption to folks. I mean, it's the beautiful walking trail. It's the scenery. It's the quiet. It's everything, and the environmental issues as well. So,
well, that's right. I forgot because there's a lot of walking trails.
Yeah, beautiful
in and
walking
around there.
trails there. Yeah.
All right, John, what can you tell us about Costco?
Costco.
Everybody wants to talk about Costco.
Costco is an idea. The head of Costco would like to build out in Middle Sackville.
Mm-hmm. So the area that they're looking at ideally is right at the top of Margeson Drive?
Yes, out around that area.
Yeah.
So, and it wouldn't be a one-stop shop type of, no pun intended, but it wouldn't be just like a one-stop shop. It's just Costco. Mm-hmm. It's the whole plan in the area.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And that wouldn't only be the only big box store there too. So,
well, I guess that's the challenge, right? Is
right.
that land was never zoned for anything,
right?
Because it was never meant to be anything,
right? So, but it also gives us an opportunity that maybe we might be able to have, if it's developed, if it comes, there's a possibility of like roundabouts, park and rides, transit out in the area. So that area is going to boom.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity really to do West Bedford and Larry Utech.
Yeah.
But to avoid all of the issues that they had.
Right. Let's do it right the first time. I get the infrastructure, strategic infrastructure done first, like multi-use pathways. There might be room for some bike lanes, there's sidewalks, parks.
Yeah.
It's a whole myriad of things that can happen at once.
I mean, I know that province is keeping an eye on that area for new schools.
Yes.
So it's just a matter of let's get that land zoned and ready for development. Yeah,
and the whole idea of a complete community too. So we have the commercial, we have the residential, all in the same areas. Sure, we're going to have to do the infrastructure, the road structure, and the like roundabouts and things like that. But let's do it right in the first swing at the bat. And
I well imagine too that water is probably a big factor as well, getting water and sewer service up there.
Sewer and water, so that comes in line with the different service boundaries. So all those things have to be looked at and maybe introduced in the regional plan. If it's not in phase 4, hopefully phase 5.
All right. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Those are the numbers to call to chat with your city councillor. And joining us on the line, we have Trina. Good morning, Trina.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great.
Excellent. You want to speak to Councillor Purdy or Councillor Young?
Oh, either one.
All right. What's on your mind?
Issue out.
Sure. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I am recently blind. So my question will be about accessibility, but I'm going to lead up to it. So with me just becoming recently blind, I have come to see things on the other side about what is there for the blind community and what is not. There is a lot of people in communities that have low vision or no vision at all who would love to go to a lot of these places and have the accessibility. It's nice to get all these nice new touch pads to register at medical centers and hospitals, but the blind community cannot do that without bringing someone else with them, and we'd like to have our independence. So my question is, when are we able to look at putting that in the budget to be accessible to begin with the medical centers and hospitals to begin?
Okay. Well, I'll turn that over to the councillors, but with the recognition that they're not responsible for the wayfinding and signage in hospitals, that would be provincial. But certainly at HRM we have there are a lot of accessible things that can help people in your situation, Trish.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Lisa. And I feel like ex-Councillor Blackburn here might do a better job of answering this. But we do. Yes. So thank you very much, actually, for the question, for bringing up the really important issue of accessibility. So HRM is doing bit by bit, little by little, has done quite a bit. Intersections. So we have the the audio now that signals,
the signals,
audio signals,
the tactile
plates, absolutely at the end, so folks who are visually impaired can kind of sense the difference when they're heading out into a street. But certainly more needs to be done, and it is a top of mind. I know that we've met many times with province and HRM staff and folks in the visually impaired community, just to make sure that even construction sites, and because that is a real barrier for folks on the street, especially when sidewalks are shut down and there's no good alternative or safe alternative. So I mean, these are work in progress and definitely not happening fast enough for sure. But just to assure you that this is front and center in mind, and trying to figure out how can we make the best decisions.
Yeah. But you know what, Trina, something I was thinking of too. You might want to give the clerk's office at HRM a call and ask how you can get involved with the Accessibility Advisory Committee, because there is a committee of council that works on accessibility issues in our buildings and in our infrastructure, and that might be a good place to start to get involved.
Perfect. Thank you for all your help, and thank you for having me on the show.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much, Trina.
Thank you.
902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Back to the phones, and we have Rick on the line who wants to talk about infilling. Good morning, Rick.
Yes, how you doing this morning?
So far, so good. We're keeping the ship afloat. What's new with you?
Not too much. Just a question about the infilling is, where are we supposed to dump that acid shale? That's the problem. Like, you just can't haul it anywhere in HRM and dump it because it's acidy, and the salt water neutralizes it. But why can't they still dump it up there where they've been dumping it under the new bridge in Fairview?
I think you just answered your own question.
Right. But they stopped hauling into Fairview. Why is that? Have they stopped hauling in there where they're building that extension on, I guess, on the container port?
Good question.
Okay. They've been hauling in there for years, right? But
I believe that. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, I said they've seemed to shut that area down. So now where's that acid going to Halifax and Dartmouth?
So where it was being done before, I guess. What's happening now is that's being reevaluated. So that's a follow-up question that I'll take to the business unit there, Rick, and I'll get back to you.
Yeah, because there was an issue up there dumping. It wasn't bothering anybody dumping up there, right?
Yeah.
And I realize it has to go in salt water to be neutralized the acid, right?
Yeah, and I think that's the issue. I think when it was just being dumped, it wasn't being neutralized. At least when it's in the salt water, it's neutralized and presumably less dangerous. Or less concerning. But anyway, good question, Rick. I thank you for that, and we'll have to let you go for now. But we have phone lines are open at 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. It is Councillors on the Hot Seat. You have an opportunity to chat with Trish Purdy from District 4 and John Young from District 14. It is 10:14. I'm Lisa Blackburn, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Burn.
And joining us in the studio for Councillors on the Hot Seat this morning, we have Trish Purdy from District 4, Cole Harbour, Preston, Westphal, and Cherrybrook, and John Young from District 14, Hammonds Plains, Upper Hammonds Plains, Lucasville, Middle, and Upper Sackville. And speaking of Middle Sackville, John, you had quite the situation that you were dealing with in the last few weeks with that huge fire on Hanwell. Any updates that you can share?
Just a few updates. Approximately 180 people were displaced from the fire on 119 Hanwell Drive. And they were dispersed all over the province. I was speaking to some who had to go to Falmouth, down to Westphal, some were in Windsor, were family members and friends until they get the situation worked out, because they had to go through their insurance and find other accommodations throughout the city. So some have found some in different apartment buildings in amongst the HRM.
Okay.
And some are still looking.
All right,
So,
yeah, that's no easy feat.
Yeah.
No. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Those are the numbers to reach the councillors. And joining us on the line is Sean. Sean, good morning. Welcome.
Hey, good morning. How are you guys?
So far, so good. What's on your mind?
Lisa, good to hear from you. Councillors, thanks for doing this, volunteering on a Monday morning. We really appreciate it as listeners.
Thank you.
Our pleasure.
I don't know. I'm not going to be an old man and wave my fist at this. I just got a question about policing services and traffic in the HRM when it comes to the Motor Vehicle Act and window tint. I'm a big walker, so I walk a lot, and my wife, and I know a lot of people, but we're also noticing now that there's a lot of window tint where you cannot see the driver on the passenger and the driver's side. And recently I've been seeing windshields that are tinted. My concern is I just don't understand why it's not being enforced. Is it something the police are worthwhile doing, or is it just we're not going to bother pull them over because yada, yada, yada?
It's the vehicle equivalent to jaywalking.
Exactly. Yeah. But, I'm going to hit a point here where, I don't want to be that. I'm not going to be offside on this. Okay.
Okay.
It is what I notice is it's newer Canadians, which is fine, that seem to have this all done. And the majority, okay, not everyone. And my concern is the police is not taking care of this because they don't want to be labeled. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you're picking on us because we're new Canadians. And if I don't want it to be that way. So I think the rule, I don't know. I just don't think it's safe because you want to make eye contact with drivers as you're walking. But as a person, you don't know who's in the car and what they have, or it's just a safety thing.
All right, John?
I just don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, John Young is going to take a crack at this.
Okay, thank you, Sean. So we meet with the regional councillors in my area. We meet with the RCMP detachment once a month. I've brought this up several times, and you're not picking sides. It's true. On a large majority of them might be newcomers. Who have the tenant windows, not just the sides, but the fronts and the back.
Or they might have come from other provinces as well. Where
they might have come from other
legal.
provinces. So I brought that up. I think they're going to increase on looking into it a little bit more, and also too, it's not just the pedestrian like yourself or another driver like yourself, Sean. It's the safety issue for the officers. They cannot view inside those vehicles either as well. So it's an all-around safety issue. I'm hoping that it's going to be looked into more. I brought it up several times in our meetings. And plus, too, I just want to see if there's any correlation between tinted windows, speeding, if there's any kind of correlations to look into. So I have brought it up, and it's a good issue for you to bring up too, Sean. Like I said, you're not picking sides. It's really a safety issue.
Well, and I think
yes, 100%.
I haven't done a deep dive into the new Motor Vehicle Act that was just tabled last week, I think it was. So I'm not sure if that maybe is something that is dealt with in the new MVA.
Well, it's already... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, sorry. I might be jumping in the same conversation. I did, before I, waved my fist at the clouds, right? I actually did the research into it, and looked. In Nova Scotia, the MVA says it can't be tinted.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's just, sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, Sean. I was just going to say, it is already not allowed here in Nova Scotia. But like Lisa said, I was going to call her Councillor Blackburn. Old habits die hard. They could be coming in from other provinces too. And I mean, I think it's a capacity issue as well for RCMP. I mean, this is reminding me of noisy mufflers, same sort of frustration with residents, although it's not really a safety issue per se. But and I think this is where traffic checks and traffic stops can come in very handy, because these are the things that they look for when they're stopping traffic. But the thing is, that takes a lot of bodies, and when our RCMP and HRP are already strapped and busy, and also it's very dangerous. So surprisingly, to do these. So there are definitely things that we could certainly bring to our RCMP meetings for this. So I'll also bring it up on my next one as well, Sean. So to see if we can make some plans around this.
All right, Sean, thank you so much. Appreciate your call this morning.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
All right, you too. Take care. 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Those are the numbers to call. We've got some room on the phone lines for anyone who wants to chat with the councillors, have a question of a municipal nature. And Trish, you were telling me you were off to something on the weekend.
I sure am. Akuma is having a Meet Your Hero event. So this is meant for children with any type of autistic, on the autistic spectrum. Yeah. And we're going to have firefighters there, and we're going to have police and other heroes in the community, and it's going to be not... oh my dear.
It'll be sensory friendly. Sensory
friendly, absolutely.
There we go.
Free breakfast at 9:30. It starts at the Henry Bald Center. That is the building in the Yakuma properties right across the street from the Black Cultural Center. Mm-hmm. Everyone is welcomed. What they don't want is to have no one show up. And if you have kids who you think would love to come and don't happen to be autistic, that is fine too. I was told by the coordinator, everyone is welcome, and there will be breakfast for everyone. And it is 9:30 to 12:30, like I said, so you can drop in at any time. So hopefully we'll see you there.
All right. 902-405-6000 is the local number. 1-877-801-8255 is, if you're further out of town. And we're going to go to the phone lines right now. And joining us right now is Joe, I do believe. Joe is on the line. Joe, good morning. You want to talk about yellow lines?
Yes. Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
I live here in Upper Musquodoboit, and a couple weeks ago they renewed the center lines up through the village of Upper Musquodoboit.
Okay.
And halfway through the school zone, they put a broken line, a passing zone. And it's a very busy area where they put the passing lane, and I'm just wondering why they would do that in a school zone.
That's a very good question.
Yeah. Just not safe when you've got kids walking to school and vehicles pulling in and out of businesses and cars passing each other.
I'm looking at my phone to see if Councillor Hensby is going to text me.
Well, I'm just kind of wondering, would that have been... Yeah, that was my first thought, too, that the roads up there, the maintenance would be provincial. But... you know what? I would start with a call to 311 and just register your concern, and they can pass it on to the appropriate folks.
Okay, I'll do that right away. Thank you very much.
All right, no problem. Thank you so much, Joe. 902-405-6000 is the number, and Lance is here. Good morning. Oh. Lance is in the middle of something. Have we caught you at a bad time, Lance? Lance. All right, I think we're going to have to let Lance go because it sounds like he's in the middle of something. Oh, heavens. 405-6000 is the number, 1-877-801-8255. Listen, it's coming up to 10:27. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Lisa Blackburn. You're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Blackburn.
Thank you very much. I am Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you are listening to 95.7 News Radio. We are in the midst of Councillors on the Hot Seat. Joining us today, we have Trish Purdy, Councillor for District 4, Cole Harbour, Preston, Westphal, Cherrybrook, and John Young from District 14, Hammonds Plains, Upper Hammonds Plains, Lucasville, Middle, and Upper Sackville. Hang on the line, Jim, Lance, Chris. We're going to get to you in a moment, but Trish has a quick update on our question about the yellow lines.
I do. Thank you very much. So, Joe, I heard from Councillor Hensby and Councillor Daigle-Gammon. It is definitely provincial. And Councillor Daigle-Gammon suggested you call the MLA Scott Armstrong's office to make your concern known there. All
right. Sounds like a good plan. Thank you so very much. 902-405-6000 is the number. 1-877-801-8255. I think we've straightened out what's up with Lance. Lance, are you back, sir?
You betcha.
All right. What can we do for you?
So my question is just going out to traffic congestion. I know it's a big issue in the whole HRM. The one area in particular that I guess I wanted to call on today is in lower Middle Sackville, the intersection on Beaverbank and on Lower Sackville Drive. Like I say, during a rush hour, you got a school to the one side, you've got a large business to the other side. Traffic turning in, it's just something that congestion backs up is very slow going. Just wondering if there is any plans or is there any process to evaluate street lights, traffic lights to see if they are set properly for rush hours, evaluated, or plans that could be done to alleviate. I mean, there's a large business with a lot of land to this side where, whether a traffic circle or something could be placed in there to help the flow of traffic, but just a question to ask on that.
All right.
Okay,
That's
Lance,
your wheelhouse there, John.
Yeah, I'll take this one, Lance. So, with regards to the road construction and the traffic congestion, the business units are looking at some mitigation strategies in the area of. You mentioned Beaverbank and Lower Sackville. They're also looking at that on Lucasville Road. Hammonds Plains, Upper Hammonds Plains area, and Pockwalk, to try to get more mitigation strategies, like not doing the constructions as much during peak periods. There's also some options or alternatives to doing more work at night. So those strategies are out there, and they were taken to the business units, and we're just waiting to hear back from them right now. Yeah,
that stretch of road has been a bit of a cluster, as we say, for a very long time. I mean, it's a lot of vehicles exiting and entering from that very small area. So, glad to hear that staff are taking a look at that. Lance, thank you so very much for your call. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. 902-405-6000 is the number. And back to the phones. And joining us now is Jim. Good morning, Jim. Welcome, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. How are you doing?
Great. Good to see you've done complete full circle. Radio personality, counselor, back to the radio.
Well, it's stranger things have happened, eh?
Well, it keeps you out of trouble, too,
Exactly. You want to talk traffic enforcement, sir?
Yeah, and I want to pose a question before I depart, too, about taxes. But first of all, traffic enforcement, I know a lot of people have called in about bicycles and scooters on the sidewalks and et cetera. And anyway, I've gotten to the point now, I'm in an age bracket where I'm considered a senior. I don't feel like it, but I do a lot of walking with my dog. And just the other day I had three young girls, I'll call them, maybe they were preteens, come up behind me very quickly. The dog didn't hear them, neither did I, because they're electric scooters. And the three of them passed me like they were going to a Daytona race from behind. None of them, they were on the sidewalk where they're not supposed to be. None of them were wearing the helmets that accompany the machines when you rent them. Yep. But this is a common sight. I was at an intersection here the other day, and there was a police car beside me with two officers in it on the left-hand side, and they watched too. Two people on bicycles drive their bicycles through the crosswalks, which you're not allowed to do, and no helmets on. And I had my window down, and I looked at the officer to the passenger side who had his window down, and I said, "Really?" He said, "What?" I said, "Is that not an infraction?" And he just put the window up. I mean, I've gotten to the point. I understand the police are shorthanded, but we've got to do some law enforcement and traffic enforcement out there, because if you strike a senior with one of those scooters on a sidewalk, you're going to kill them. The way they move and the way they travel, it's the same with the bicycles. And I just want to put that out there, and there's no sense in calling 311. It doesn't go anywhere. I've emailed my councillor. I live in the North End, and I've gotten ghosted. I'll leave it there. Now I feel a little better. I've vented, and I'll leave that with you.
All right.
My other thing about taxes, and then I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
Is how much tax money is derived from apartment renters? And the reason I ask is my wife and I, neither one of us use bicycles. Neither one of us travel on the bus, but, you know, it's like everything else. We tend to pay our portion of the freight, and I'm not complaining about that. What I'm complaining about or wondering about is that burden being shared appropriately, or is there an untapped stream of revenue that councillors should be looking at in the way of an increase for these apartment owners or these apartment building owners, I guess. And I'll leave it there, Lisa. Thank you very much.
All right, Jim, thank you so much for your call. Trish has got her hand raised. You go for it, girl.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll take this one. So, Jim, thanks for your questions there on the scooters, bicycle use on the sidewalks. So, as Lisa mentioned, the province did just pass their Traffic Safety Act.
Yeah, I don't think it's passed yet. They just dropped it. They dropped it, so we know what's in it now.
Right, and I also have not taken a deep dive into that yet. That's my on my list for this week. But I think I skimmed over that we now have the jurisdiction. We can now make rules for our sidewalks that could potentially include scooters or bikes, which I know, as you've said, Jim, is not ideal, especially for pedestrians and seniors. And I mean, this is one of the concerns about our multi-use pathways because it is a shared space, and it just I don't know how successful shared spaces are for that, especially with pedestrians. So,
well, you know, and we were speaking about accessibility earlier as well. And certainly there have been a number of occasions where I've, driven along and I've seen, 3 or 4 of these scooters just toppled over on the sidewalk in the middle, helmets spilled all over the place.
Yes.
And then what happens when somebody with vision impairment or somebody in a wheelchair comes along?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are part of the policies that we have to still, I guess, strengthen in our development. And the scooter rental bird is supposed to be taking care of enforcement on that and cleanup on that, and it's supposed to be very quickly solved. So if we see those things, we should be calling 311 to report where and when it is, so that they can be cleaned up as soon as possible. And as for the property tax question, I know just over 80% of our revenue stream for HRM comes from property taxes. I do not know off the top of my head the breakdown of
apartments versus but apartments pay a much higher rate than individual representatives. 902-405-6000 is the number to call, and joining us right now is Colin. Good morning, Colin. You want to talk about the Lucasville Bridge, which is currently under construction.
Yes, I do. Morning, everyone.
Hi, welcome.
So, thank you. So I know in other provinces, like when a construction project is bid on, if the construction company goes over a certain time limit, they're charged, they're penalized. It doesn't seem to exist in Nova Scotia. Is there a timeline for them to be done? Because it's a very small bridge. Like they finished that one in Truro in maybe it was a year, but it's a long bridge and they did both sides. This I know they're doing both sides, and it's taken. I think it's coming up on 2 years now.
All right.
Yeah.
And also, just one more thing. The installation of the crosswalk at H.T. Barrett, I know Lisa and I had several emails back and forth, and I finally got them in, so I am super happy about that.
Oh, I was super happy to see those go in as well. There's one up by Woodbine Park that I was super happy to see be installed.
Yeah, that one too.
Yeah, you know what? We take that's the thing. We take our small victories in the role of councillor for sure. All right.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Colin, listen, we'll let you go and we'll let John give you the update on the bridge and how we're doing there. Thanks so much.
Yes, thanks for the question, Colin. So for the update on the completion of the Lucasville Bridge, I was told by the business units, it's between early, and I don't think it's early because I went by there yesterday, so the other side doesn't look like it's going to be early. So it's probably more mid-October is supposed to be the completion date of the Lucasville Bridge. You're right, it has been almost going on 2 years for that small bridge. And that's what I'm looking at, too, when this budget season comes around about on the procurement end. There should be something put in place for if there is an overrun of time that these contractors should be penalized more than what there's something in place now, but it's hardly ever enforced. But I think if you put the amount up higher and for an enforcement, it would force them to get things done on time or at the earliest time as possible for completion. So
all right,
that's where it stands right now.
Perfect. Thank you so very much. Listen, we've got Chris and Sheldon and another Chris and Kevin and Mary all on the line. It is 10:45. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment. And we continue with councillors on the hot seat with Trish Purdy, District 4, and John Young from District 14. And let me see, we got somebody else here who wants to talk about that bridge on Lucasville Road. Sheldon is on the line. Good morning, Sheldon.
Yeah, I just wanted to comment on that bridge. It's shocking to me that we're not a little bit embarrassed as a councillor that this has taken so long and that the contractor on that job works about 34 hours a week. Never anybody there on a Saturday, never anybody there in the evening, never anybody on the weekend. Boy, if we had an emergency in that area where a fire or something took place where the Lucasville Road actually had to be used in an emergency, to me, I feel a little embarrassed for you as the councillor, especially if you said that you're in procurement. I just wanted to weigh in on that.
All right, Sheldon, did you want to respond there, John?
Yeah, so that's probably included in the contract, the hours that the contractor was working. I kind of I agree with you for on the emergency and the safety aspects of it. I've been trying to find out about the completion date when we did this. What's that?
Oh, no, just agreeing with you.
So when we did the Sackville or the Lucasville Town Hall, that was one of many questions that came up, and I mentioned that I would get an update for it, and I did get the update. So it's that was kind of linked to the contract, I think.
The days of the week that they work?
Yeah. Who just called in?
Well, and, my understanding as well is that once they started the first side of the bridge and got underneath there, because that's where the vast majority of the work is taking place, the underside of it.
It was worse than what they thought.
Exactly.
So that's why it took a little longer.
The scope of work expanded, and so that played into it as well. All right, let me see now. Let's go to Mary. We've got Mary on the line who wants to talk about the scooters in the city. Mary, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Thanks for taking my call, and I don't want to sound like a fuddy-duddy, but, those scooters look like a lot of fun, and trust me, I live downtown Halifax, so on the weekends, it's pretty gnarly when you see, two on the scooter and they're zipping around all over the place downtown. But my question, I don't know how they work. I've not rented them before, but you have to use your debit or credit card to access it. They have that information. So there was one day I woke up in the morning to go to work, and one was right outside my apartment door, and it took me several minutes and a passerby to move the thing so I could get out of my apartment.
Oh, you mean it was just bumped up against the side of the door, like closed?
Yeah, right
my
against the door.
Heavens.
Yeah, okay. and they're heavy to move when they're not in use. So, I mean, they have that information, and you see them scattered all over, and they're dumped out. And granted, things can get knocked over, or people can knock them over. But if they're being placed in places or not, or misused, they have that information. Can there not be some sort of like a fining thing, or like, hey, you agree to this, so if you're not going to put it back the way it's supposed to be put back, you're going to be fined for us to have to, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how that works, but is there some sort of, I don't want to say retaliation, that's not the right word, but some sort of, fining system, something.
Yeah. Well, I think, the main thing about these companies is that this micro mobility, I guess, is the overarching term that's used. Recognizing that it's going to be part of the city scene going forward. But I'm really hopeful that the new Motor Vehicle Act will have some good things in there to better regulate these companies.
And I do think as well, part of the policy, Mary, is that you're right. The information, the companies do have this. So I think they get locked out. I'm not sure if it's the first infraction, if they, don't return their device to the proper parking place, but they will be locked out. And that's part of the enforcement piece.
Okay.
All right.
One more quick thing, if I could.
Sure.
There's certain intersections in the city that we all know about, like the Windsor Street one in Kennard. That's just a cluster if people aren't familiar on how to use it. And I'm reading some things online that there's a lot of near misses in the crosswalk there when we have, people are just not sure. But there's other, like if you're on Brunswick and Sackville and they're doing construction work there, road work, and I don't know if they're changing it, but that intersection is really dangerous when you're trying to make a left up on Sackville, right at that little corner there.
Yeah.
There's no arrow light. If they had a green arrow light going left, because you have to nose your way up, and the people are turning right down on Sackville to go down towards the waterfront, and you have to pray to God that no one's coming in the other direction. And I've seen I've seen somebody hit in that crosswalk, actually seen them hit by a car, and really a lot of near misses turning up that left. I'm just wondering, I mean, there's got to be, when they're planning this out and looking, at some of these intersections, that a green arrow light would just make it a lot safer for everybody, including the pedestrians. But making that left up, you're taking your life in your own hands on that intersection.
All right, Mary, listen, thank you very much. We have councillors taking notes here, and they will report that back to the city.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
All right, Mary, thank you for your time. Thank you so much. 902-405-6000 is the number. And John, you had something coming up this weekend.
Yes, I do. It's the Lucasville Heritage Days, 596 Lucasville Road. It's Saturday, October the 4th from 11 to 4. Everybody's welcome. It's to showcase the heritage and culture and history of Lucasville. So please come out. The Lucasville Community Association Chair, Deborah Lucas, she's going to be the lead in that. So everybody's
excellent.
Welcome to come out.
Yep, fantastic.
But
and you've got an update as well.
Yes, I do.
I
have an update for Lance from the great counselor out in District 14, Councillor Billy Gillis.
15. You're 14.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying that's where Billy is.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So the intersection in the provincial is a provincial responsibility. It's controlled access highway up to Sackville Drive. So that's the update for Lance when he's talking about Beaver Bank and Sackville Drive.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
right. 902-405-6000 is the number. And we've got time for just another couple of calls. But Chris is on the line. Chris wants to talk about parking in HRM. Good morning, Chris.
Hey. Good morning, Lisa. How you doing?
I'm doing well. We're keeping things afloat here. What can we do for you?
I love you, by the way, since your 2 days.
Thank you.
I've always been a big fan of you.
Oh, thank you.
And you're doing a great job.
Oh, well, I appreciate
doing
that.
a great job.
She's doing a great job.
I'm gonna go switch gears here, and the scooter situation. Like I'm a senior too, and I was walking down the sidewalk the other day, and this scooter comes flying by and almost flipped me, and buddy had no helmet on, and those things go pretty fast.
Yep, they do.
if he had clipped me, yeah, I'm telling you, he would have been dead, or maybe me. Like, and no respect. And like, what is going on? Like, have some, sense and laws against, what are they doing?
I think part of the issue is the fact that a lot of these transportation modes have been developed since the last time the Motor Vehicle Act was revamped. I mean, my understanding of the Motor Vehicle Act before the new one dropped last week was it was so old it still had references to horse and buggy. Like it was just ridiculously old. So I mean, I think this micro mobility, these scooters and whatnot, they're here to stay. But I think, as you point out, it's got to be better regulated, and I certainly hope that the Motor Vehicle Act takes aim to make it safe for everybody.
Yeah, I know, and like the other caller said, Lisa, they're parked all over the place. You get tripping over them. And, they're driving them like they're at a ride at Disney World. Like, no helmet and blazing by you.
Yeah.
And, it's like you need eyes in the back of your head.
All right, listen, Trish wants to weigh in on this. I'll let you go for now, Chris, but appreciate your time.
Nice talking to you, Lisa.
All righty, thanks.
Thanks, Chris, for that. Just on that note, we in HRM, we've undertaken a pilot project. So it was a 2-year pilot project. We're in the middle of that right now, and there will be assessments made. And there are other cities that have banned micromobility scooters.
True enough.
Yeah, true. So I guess they're going to look at the stats, the data, and see how we made out, and whether the benefits outweigh the costs.
All right. Listen, that hour went quickly. Thank you so very much. John Young, District 14.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right. Trish Purdy, District 4. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you,
birthday,
Lisa. And I just want to say hi to Todd, too, quickly, and hope you're doing well. And even though I've spent some terrifying hours with you here.
Yes, I hope Todd is doing well.
See you back in the seat one day soon.
All right. It is 10:58. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Blackburn.
Good morning, friends and neighbors. Welcome back to the Todd Veinotte Show. It is the open hour, and this is where it is your opportunity to, if you got a Monday rant that's just boiling up inside, 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. Those are the numbers to call. All kinds of things going on that we can talk about. Changes to the hunting rules. Starting October 1st, province is changing the regulations under the Wildlife Act. It's going to extend the deer hunting season, add more weekend opportunities, but more interesting, it's going to reduce the minimum age from 16 to 12 for a hunting license for big game. So that means a 12-year-old can be out in the woods trying to shoot a bear. Province is hoping that by changing the age limit, it's going to engage more youth in safe and mentored opportunities. What about Truth and Reconciliation Day? Theme for this year, storytelling and storytellers. How do you personally commemorate this moment? Is it about learning for you? And share your joint journey with us. The province has tabled legislation that could weaken a key section of the transparency law. It was tabled on Friday. The legislation would notably delete a section of the current law that states its purpose is to release all government information. The bill would also extend deadlines for release of government records requested by members of the public. The Freedom of Information Act. Maybe you want to talk about that today. Well, Prime Minister Mark Carney has arrived back in Canada as well. Got in last evening, I understand, and is defending the international trips that he's been taking this month. He says the meetings with world leaders are necessary to open new markets for Canadian products. And, he was 4 days in London. He said the meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer was to ensure that the two are on track to make progress on economic and security measures. But what do you think about Prime Minister Mark Carney spending so much time and racking up those air mile points? 902-405-6000, the number 1-877-801-8255. We have Kevin on the line right now. Kevin, you want to talk about the climate action tax?
Yeah, I do. I sort of miss the councillors because I kind of like what their reply would be, but I got my tax bill there, and you just got to wonder what climate action tax, like how much money would be collected for something like that from each taxpayer of HRM, and what actually does that money go to? Is it like a carbon tax, or what is it?
Well, if you're talking about the climate action plan that HRM has, that money collected is to help with initiatives like, securing up our shorelines, to make sure that we're protected from erosion. It's helping to retrofit many of our buildings or many of HRM's buildings that are still reliant on oil for heat. It's that kind of those kinds of projects that it funds.
Yeah, it doesn't sound too legit.
You
really.
sound skeptical. You sound skeptical.
Well, the way that the money is wasted nowadays, and it's so tight, people are having a hard time getting by, and it just seems like there's all this stuff that we're just being taxed on, that there's no explanation for it. And like I don't live on a lake, I don't live on a shoreline really. I mean, sure, I live in Nova Scotia, it's got a large shoreline, but I mean, how much money would the government collect on a tax base that people have to pay for? Like is it money well spent? That's what I'm saying.
Yes. How would you like to see the money spent?
Well, I'd like to just keep the money myself, and use it for buying a roasted beef, or putting gas in my tank, or like I don't know. You can only take so much money from the taxpayer.
Absolutely. That's the bottom line. There is only one taxpayer, and they have to pay a lot of taxes.
Well, it's getting to the point where, it's like the tax man, how much money did you make? Send it in. Like it's getting to the point, and a lot of people are getting upset, and you guys got to sharpen your pencils a little better,
All right. Listen, Kevin, thank you so much. I appreciate the call. 902-405-6000 is the number. 1-877-801-8255. The phone lines are wide open right now. Just want to get back to Prime Minister Carney. Taking a lot of heat for his time out of Canada. 4-day trip to London. He was meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, but during that trip, also met with Asian, European, and African investment firms to, see what deals could be made for Canada. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says, he said on social media that the trip is nothing but liberal show business, and Carney should be more focused on domestic issues like crime and affordability. Do you agree with him? 902-405-6000, the number, 1-877-801-8255. Going back to the phone lines, and we've got Chris on the line. Chris, you're interested in property taxes.
That's one of my main interests because I have to pay so damn many or so much on them.
All right.
I agree with your last caller. It'd be nice for that climate tax, or whatever they want to call it, to stay in our pockets where it could be probably spent in the right way. But you guys were talking earlier when the councillors were on. Someone mentioned that the apartment buildings pay a higher rate of taxes than the residential. That's not really true. The apartment buildings pay more in total dollars because they're bigger buildings,
right,
but the rate is the same as the residential rate. If your apartment building is on the peninsula and your home is on the peninsula, you're charged the same residential rate on your property taxes. So the rate's the same.
Yeah, and I guess and that conversation was had in respect to bike lanes. Is the the common refrain that I used to hear as a councillor and still hear is, well, these bike riders, they don't pay property taxes, and I guess that's just a vast assumption that everybody on a bike doesn't own a house.
Well, a lot of people on bikes that ride bikes own homes, and a lot of people don't. So how you'd find out what the split is and make any difference, I don't know. But there are places, I think, that bicycles should or cyclists should pay, and that's one, to license their vehicle.
Yeah.
And also to carry insurance. I ride a motorcycle occasionally.
Yeah.
Have for years. And I'll bet you if I rode it without a helmet, I couldn't make it down Quimpool Road before I'd be pulled over and charged.
Absolutely.
I see it all the time, and Lisa, I'm sure you do as well. This is anecdotal, obviously.
Oh, sure.
Most of the bike riders that I see are not wearing helmets and or abiding by the rules of the road. It seems they pick the rules of the road that cars have to abide by whenever it benefits them to do it, and when it doesn't benefit them, they turn into a pedestrian mode and ride across the crosswalk, ride up the sidewalk, make a U-turn in the middle of traffic, whatever the case might be.
Right.
So that there has to be more policing on this, and these e-bikes and e-scooters, they're a nightmare, honest to God.
Well,
I see two people.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about speeds. They can get up to some pretty hefty speeds.
They go generally, I'm driving around town and I'm going, say, 40 kilometers. I know the speed limit's 50, but there's not many places you can sustain 50 kilometers with the traffic we have for very long, let me tell you. And I'm sure you see it as well, Lisa. But these guys are passing me, and I'm going like 40 kilometers with the traffic, and they're going down the middle of the lane, splitting lanes, and passing all the cars and this sort of thing. I mean, it's dangerous. And the police don't have time to catch everybody, and they're not in the right place all the time. But there doesn't seem to be much enforcement, if any, of this sort of thing. Tinted windows are another thing you guys were talking about.
Yep.
They're illegal in Nova Scotia. I know when you order a vehicle from the dealership, a brand new vehicle, especially these SUVs, most of them come with tinted, fairly heavily tinted rear door and rear tailgate windows. The front seats and the windshield are they are tinted, but very, very lightly. So you can still see through them. But this is illegal. And in Nova Scotia, tinted windows all the way around to a certain level. But how come if you Google window tinting companies, HRM, you will find dozens of companies out there that make a business or part of their business from tinting windows.
Yeah. Well, I mean, recognizing that, some tinting is legal. Some tinting is allowed, but it's the dark tint that prevents you from seeing in.
Yes, right. But Lisa, for the last 25 years, the vehicles I've been buying come standard with tinted windows. Probably longer than that, actually.
Wow.
And they're legal tint. And they mentioned about maybe some of these vehicles are newcomers. I wouldn't paint it with that brush, not from my experience anyway. No. Also from out of province. Well, when we had years ago, you may or may not remember this, radar detectors were legal in some provinces and illegal in others.
As you're coming off the ferry from Prince Edward Island, there is still a sign on the Nova Scotia side that says radar detectors are illegal.
Yeah, I know. And I used to use one back in the day.
Yeah.
Well, if you crossed from one province to another, let's say you're coming into Nova Scotia and you're from out of province, and it's legal in your province to use a radar detector, or maybe it was legal to use a cell phone while you drive, the police here can still enforce that rule. You're not allowed to use it here.
Yep.
So if a vehicle comes in from out of province with an illegal tint on their windshields, why don't or can't the police enforce that rule of law with them as well?
All right. Great question. I thank you so much.
They certainly should be able to.
Yep.
And these people that are doing the tinting, I'm sure the shops around that do it know that if I bring my vehicle in and say, hey, I want a dark tint, front, sides, the whole deal, they know the law and they shouldn't be doing it. Maybe a lot of them aren't, but they're advertising anyway.
All right. Thank you so much, Chris. Appreciate your call. You have a great Monday.
You too, Lisa. Thank you.
All right. 902-405-6000 is the number. It is 11:17. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies. You're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Blackburn.
And the open hour continues on 95.7 News Radio. Going back to the phones. And John, you are joining us now. John, you want to talk about stop signs?
Can you hear me, Lisa?
I sure can. How are you, John?
Well, it's a beautiful summer day today, and first of all, I want to congratulate you on doing this particular job, and I think they should keep you there and call it the Lisa Blackburn Show.
You are far too kind, my love, far too kind.
I think it's time that we have a female doing this and get rid of all these men.
Wow. Okay. Well, I very much appreciate that. Listen, being given the opportunity to sit in this chair and be in this studio where Rick Howe once plied his trade is absolutely humbling, and it's a pleasure to do this, John.
And the other thing I'd like to tell you about is that I live on a street called Flamingo Drive.
I'm familiar with it.
And on the corner of Flamingo and Oriole Street, which is the steepest part probably of the hill, I sat there for an hour, and off of Oriole Street, maybe one car came off of Oriole from that stop sign. But about 100 cars coming up Flamingo Drive have to ridiculously stop at a stop sign that is not necessary on a steep hill. And in the wintertime, if you stop on this part of the hill and it's snowing and there's, it's slippery on the hill, you're going to have trouble getting back going again. And so most people break the law, and they're not, and I don't blame them in one way, they don't stop because they'd never get going again. So I'm telling whoever is the councillor in this area to get rid of that stop sign because it's not needed there.
All right. I would say, you know what? If you know who your counselor is, give them a call. But if not, I would suggest giving 311 a call, and they will get that message directly to your counselor.
Listen, Lisa, you're doing a great job, and all the best to you.
Thank you so much, John. Appreciate your call. You have a great day. All right, 902-405-6000. We have phone lines open, ready for you. 1-877-801-8255. That is the long distance number if you need to reach us toll free. And big sports weekend. The Mooseheads had a good run. They came back to top the St. John Sea Dogs 4-3 on Friday night at Scotiabank Centre. And then, of course, over the weekend, the big one was the Blue Jays clinching, and they are now set to go to the next level in the baseball playoffs. Saw a little bit of that game. Saw the Alejandro Kirk grand slam home run in the first. That's just icing on the cake. 1-877-801-8255 or 902-405-6000 is the number. We have Eric, I do believe, is on the line, or we're just getting Eric on the line now. Good morning, Eric. You want to talk municipal taxes?
Yes, I do.
All right. Welcome.
I mentioned this to Dan last week, and he asked me a good question at the end of what I was going to say, so I'll just regurgitate to you what I said to him.
Okay.
I look at this $100 million. That's what I've been told or what I've heard spending on bicycle lanes. When I look at that, I look at the homeless population we have in our city. There was an expert on with Todd on about a month ago, I suppose, and he said the homeless population in Halifax is equivalent to about the municipality of Mahone Bay.
Wow.
Well, now, what I'm thinking is we need plumbers, we need electricians, we need framers, both steel and wood. You can go right down the list of tradespeople we need, and drivers for big rigs, the whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he said 80% of the people that are in that situation where the term used is sleeping in the rough are people that are working, but they can't afford any accommodations because their income is not sufficient.
Seen it firsthand myself.
Right. And for whatever the reason, they're in a situation where maybe they never had the chance to acquire skills that would get them to that magic mark of $30 an hour, which is the living wage.
Mm-hmm.
And if we re-educated the people that find themselves in that situation, we could then talk about affordable housing, because you got to have an income in order to afford affordable housing. And obviously a lot of people don't.
Right.
And then he said the other 20% or so are people that are addicted, and maybe some of them.
Yeah, I wouldn't lump them all in that 20% category. There are a lot of folks that are sleeping rough where their housing predicament is probably second or third on the list of their issues.
Well, I said that. I'm just repeating what this expert said.
Sure.
People that have addictions to cocaine, meth, whatever. Anyways, get them off the street, set them into facilities, and I know there's a lot of work being done. First of all, look after the hygiene, to find out what their issues are, why they're in that situation, see if they can be rehabilitated. So when having done that, at the end of the time, Dan asked a good question. He said, well, Eric, what do you do in the meantime? Well, my reply, but we didn't have enough time because other callers had to get on the line.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, use the money to build the infrastructure, bring in the instructors in that period to, go like a rocket and have these, being a plumber, being an electrician, everything, have the schools once open, because a lot of people have to wait sometimes 2 years to get in. And you know what? The society determines itself by the way it treats its most vulnerable, not only the young, not only the old, but those that are in that situation.
Amen.
And it's a crying shame that the money isn't being used appropriately, because let me tell you, Lisa, riding a bike is not going to save the planet. It's not going to stop hurricanes. It's not going to stop the volcano eruptions. It's not going to stop seismic activities. It's not going to stop tsunamis. So we should get with the picture. That's what I got to say. I don't know if you have a return to that or not, but thank you for your time.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate your call. Thank you so very much. It is 11:27, 902-405-6000 is the number. We have some room left. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Lisa Blackburn. You're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Burn.
All right. I might be your guest host, but this is the hour where we turn things over to you. It is the open hour. We want to hear from you at 902-405-6000 or 1-877-801-8255. And we're going to go back to the phone lines with Wendell. Wendell, thank you so much for holding on. How are you doing?
Honestly, Lisa, I'm not doing very well.
Oh, no. I'm sorry to hear that. What's going on?
Well, I'll come to that in a minute, but
okay.
I wanted to comment on that guy who called in a few calls ago about the stop sign on Flamingo Drive.
Oh, yes.
My house is right at that stop sign.
Oh, okay. You've got the vantage point then.
Yeah, you're damn right I do, and several other close by neighbors as well.
Okay.
If that stop sign wasn't there, Lisa, we would never get out of our driveways.
Yeah.
It's hard enough. It's hard enough with the stop sign there, and nobody would ever get out of Oriole onto the stop sign through that stop sign. It's a three-way stop there, and they better never take it away. But anyway, that's my comment on that.
All right.
And a few weeks ago, we are now out of our house that we've lived in for over 53 years.
Oh no!
I don't think too many people can say they've been in the house that long.
Yeah.
Anyway. Several weeks ago, we had a house fire.
Oh, good heavens.
One of those cursed lithium-ion batteries from my electric lawnmower blew up.
Wow.
My wife was doing a little gardening, and she smelled something strange, and the next-door neighbor was working on his deck, and she checked on him, and nothing there, and then she went up the other side of the house again, and nothing there, so she came back in the garage, and that thing literally blew up right beside her. It was like a vertical flamethrower.
Wow.
So I'll give a little warning to anybody who has these damn lithium-ion batteries. Get them out of your houses, get them out of your garages, and don't have them anywhere near your residence. And now we are living the worst nightmare of our lives. And neither of us are youngsters anymore, and we're out of our house now in a temporary apartment, and we don't know when the hell we're going to get back in. So anyway, that's my story. That's why I'm not doing very well.
Well, Wendell, I am very, very sorry to hear that. We experienced something similar on our street just within the past month, and it's devastating for everyone. And I definitely hope that it's not too long before insurance gets you back into your house. Appreciate your time, Wendell.
Yeah, 53 years of our lives sitting in the house in cardboard boxes.
Yeah. Yep, God love you. All right, Wendell, you take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you, Lisa.
All right,
Bye-bye.
thank you. 1-877-801-8255 or 902-405-6000, the number for the open line today. We're going to go to the phone, and David is joining us. David, good morning.
Good morning, Lisa.
How's life treating you, David?
Could be better.
Okay. What can we do for you today?
I wasn't one with the fire, but I just wanted to call to let you know that you're doing a great job there.
Oh, thank you.
But to get back to my problem, the problem with bed bugs. If anybody has any problem with those, you're in big trouble.
Yeah.
Because I used to live on Primrose Street.
Oh, yes.
And Welcome Housing I was mixed up with, and they said, nope, we can't move you. I said, oh, the bed bug problem. I said, oh, okay. So I had to turn around and leave everything behind. So it's like being in a fire without the fire.
Yeah, seriously.
And it's all my clothes, all my hockey paraphernalia, and jerseys, hockey cards, stuff like that. And I had 2 trunks filled with my mom's antiques I had to leave behind.
Oh. So what are they doing? Are they doing a pest bomb in your apartment to get rid of them, or?
Nope. They just said nope, and sorry, no, can do. And I signed on with Welcome Housing a long time ago, and they got me hooked up into Albany Manor.
Oh, yes. Yeah, in Dartmouth.
And I said, okay. And the only thing I couldn't get around is because they could tell me the proper price on. I said, how much a month? And I said, oh. And I just kind of caught a check going past me, and I looked at it very briefly, and I said, oh, wow. And it's a really cheap rent. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, because it's 30% of whatever your earnings are.
Right. Truly affordable.
Very much. And I said, okay. And I am now down at Albany Manor. And this coming October 2nd will be my first anniversary here.
Wow.
And I'm graduating from GEO, getting employment online.
Hey, excellent. Good for you.
And so I got a couple anniversaries coming up now. So.
All right. Well, listen, thank you so very much, and congratulations on that. And appreciate your time.
Yeah, and I just wanted to call you mostly just to welcome you on board. But don't be surprised if you don't finish off the week.
Oh, well, I'm only here for today anyway, so it is just a short-term thing, but I'm on retainer to come back whenever they need me.
No, we got to keep you on for a full week.
Well, maybe sometime in the future. Thanks so much, David.
All righty, yeah.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
902-405-6000. We have room for you for sure. And we have Jeff on the line right now who wants to talk about the changes to the hunting. Good morning, Jeff.
Yes, good morning, Lisa. Very nice to hear your voice. I listen to your show on a regular basis, and I know there are regular people who do phone in.
Yes.
And I would sincerely like to invite, I think the gentleman's name is Jim. He is a former police officer.
Oh, Jim Hoskins.
Yes.
Yes, he is, definitely.
I enjoy listening to him. Very intelligent individual. I don't know the individual, but I certainly have heard his comments in the past, and I would sincerely like to invite him to share his opinion on lowering the age to 12.
Yeah.
I can't get my head wrapped around that. If
you
you're
and
not
me
old,
both. Yeah, I mean,
if you're not old enough to vote and you're not old enough to drive a car, why in the heck would a juvenile, most of whom would not be responsible for owning a gun?
Well, just to put a little context around this, hunters under the age of 18, they still have to have direct supervision of a licensed adult to make sure that they're safe. But and the training requirements, the hunter safety education, the firearm safety courses, all that are still mandatory. But I mean, can a 12-year-old take a firearm safety course? Like, do they have the...
They couldn't apply for a driver's license.
So I just,
I can't get my head wrapped around that.
Yeah, same here. That's.
But I do, Lisa. I do. If Jim is listening, I would like to hear his view on the subject.
All right. Perfect.
Thank
you. Put out the
doing
request. Thank you so much.
You're doing a fantastic job. Bye-bye now. Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jeff. Take care. All right. 902-405-6000 is the number to call. And Tracy is on the line. Good morning, Tracy, and welcome.
Good morning.
What's new and exciting in your world?
Oh, what's new and exciting is that I'm on the 102 highway in construction traffic, so appreciate you and your show keeping me entertained while I drive 5 kilometers an hour.
There we go. Pleasure is ours. What's on your mind?
I wanted to talk about the parking situation down at King's Wharf in Dartmouth.
Oh, yes.
So I'm there pretty much every Saturday between the hours of 11 and 1. Mm-hmm. We take my mother-in-law either out for lunch or take her out to one of the restaurants along that strip.
Okay.
And parking is an unmitigated disaster. It's very, very, very full. Right at the end of the road, there is a big circular area that we thought we were allowed to park in the middle of the circle. Many, many cars do.
Oh,
we
yes.
got a ticket. Okay, so we don't do that anymore.
No. Lesson learned.
They're building, right, lesson learned, yeah, but they're building more very large apartment buildings. I can't fathom what they're going to do about parking, but the biggest problem that we have is handicap parking. There are 2 handicap spots on that whole street.
Oh, wow.
For what are, I think now 5 or 6 large apartment buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Many of those buildings have seniors in them, and some of the buildings actually have care facilities for seniors. My mother-in-law's in a wheelchair, so many Saturdays we take her out, which requires handicap parking so that we can, we don't have a curb to deal with. She's not very mobile, and like I said, she's in a chair. I would say 80% of the time we can't get into the wheelchair, into the handicap zones. And the primary people that are taking them are delivery trucks.
Oh, boy.
Amazon is parked there almost every single weekend. And then last weekend it was a different kind of delivery truck. It wasn't Amazon. I don't know who it was. When I see somebody, I take an opportunity. I've left notes on cars, and I speak to them. And the Amazon driver the other day was incredibly rude and said, well, where else am I supposed to park? And I said, well, not here.
Not here.
It's illegal.
Yeah.
We contacted Sam Austin about it.
Okay.
Never heard back. We contacted the mayor's office, didn't hear back. Contacted our own councillor. We're in Cole Harbour, so we contacted Trish Purdy, who is phenomenal. Mm-hmm. She wrote back immediately, and we had a response from the mayor's office in 24 hours saying we'd look into it. Still never heard from Sam and haven't heard anything else. I'd like to see a dramatic increase in parking patrols down there.
All right.
And I hope that the parking folks, the parking patrol people, are ticketing the Amazon truck drivers. I know they're only there for a short time, but I've timed them. They can be gone 10, 15 minutes.
Absolutely, if they need signatures.
Package.
Yeah.
Exactly, and they're often, we see them in the elevators, they're delivering multiple packages.
Yeah.
If I bring my mother-in-law down in the wheelchair, she has Alzheimer's, I can't explain to her why we have to wait 15 minutes to have an accessible place to put her into the car.
Wow.
And my other option is I'm literally in the middle of the street, and this takes a few minutes to transfer her.
Exactly.
First of all, the fact that there's only 2 handicap spots is a problem. And secondly, that there are multiple delivery drivers. Sometimes they're in the big trucks, and sometimes they're just in cars, but they're delivery people when they come back and they have their clipboards and stuff. It's
all right.
A huge problem.
All right, Tracy, listen, we got to go to a break, but from your lips to traffic enforcement's ears, thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
All right, 902-405-6000. Hang on, Chris. Hang on, Leslie. We'll get to you in just a moment. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Blackburn.
It is 11:50. We continue now with the open hour at 902-405-6000, and we've got Chris on the line Chris, welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm just calling about the hunting age being lowered.
Oh, yes. What are you thinking about this?
Yeah, you and your last caller there, second last, whatever, comparing it to a driver's license and that sort of thing, it's not even remotely the same.
Okay.
The kid is going to be supervised by an adult. They do go through the training.
Okay.
And, is why people think firing a rifle or whatever is that complicated. It's not. Sure, it's dangerous, but crossing the street is dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So to say that a 12-year-old with a responsible adult can't go hunting or is in any way, shape, or form any more dangerous than anything else is ridiculous. It kind of boggles my mind how and why it would boggle your mind.
Well,
I don't get it.
Full disclosure, I do not come from a hunting background at all. So this is a world that I am only familiar with because of my mom, who actually worked at Natural Resources in the Hunter Safety Division for about 25 years. So that's the extent of my knowledge. But I guess what struck me was this is for big games. So this is a 12-year-old that potentially could be taking down a bear or a deer?
Okay, but a big deer is 180 pounds, 200 pounds. And you're shooting it from a distance. Most bears, you're up in a tree in a blind or something. And they're with an adult. So bears potentially are dangerous, but most bears are more scared of you than you are of it.
All right.
So it's
fair enough.
Yeah,
I appreciate the education. Thank you so much, Chris.
Yeah, right on.
All right. Thank you so very much. 405-6000 is the number, and we're going to go to the lines for Leslie. Leslie, this is the first time you have ever called into the open hour?
This is my first time. How are you today, Lisa?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you, Leslie?
Not too bad. I just got something quick on stop signs.
Sure.
My job, I'm on the road. I'm on the road all the time with my job. And if I hit $1 for every time I see somebody driving through a stop sign, I'd be living in Beverly Hills right now in a mansion with 3 cars and a tennis court.
Listen, we used to call it the California rolling stop.
Oh, I see them. They drive through stop signs pretty much all the time. They don't hardly stop, the ones I see. They just drive right through. Wow. But it's dangerous and it should be addressed. So.
But, absolutely. All right. Well, listen, Leslie, I thank you so much for joining the conversation, and hope it's not so long before you call us back.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. 902-405-6000. I think Ray is joining us with a good news story. Good morning, Ray.
Oh, good morning. Lisa, is it?
It is indeed, yes.
Oh, hi, Lisa.
Welcome to the open hour.
Well, thank you very much. I am a 60-year-old man.
Okay.
And I'm calling because I want to, give hope, I guess, to everybody out there who's kind of got to this point in their life and feel like love is never going to hit their doorstep, don't give up.
No.
I was recently on a trip, and miraculously, you could say, somebody came into my life on that trip and showed me love for the first time in my life.
There you go.
And I'm just so over the moon with this new sense and new feeling.
Good for you. That's awesome.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thank you. The only issue I have is I have to find a way of telling my wife and kids. So if there's anybody out there that has any advice, I would appreciate if they called in.
All right. I suggest that you do it long distance. Thanks so much, Ray, for the laugh. Appreciate it. Oh, heavens. 902-405-6000. Let me see. Oh, we've got Al on the line. Hey, Al, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you.
You want to talk about hunting?
Yeah. I worked for Department of Land and Forest for years.
Yes.
And I don't agree with this 12-year-old.
Oh, what capacity do you work?
Here's why. Because I have grandchildren only 12 years old. Did I put a rifle in their hands? No. Whether I was with them, it ain't gonna happen. I call it a money grab for license for the provincial government, for the lands and forests to sell extra licenses, and just where they want you.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I worked with them for, I think it was 8 years, and I went on to my own career. But anyway, I don't agree with it. I was born in 1964, and I had to wait till I was 16 just to be able to carry a rifle with a responsible adult with a license. So, anybody else over there? Here's what I call it: a suit and tie is making these decisions. They sit in the office. They've never been in the woods. They probably don't even have a tree growing in their yard, and they're making all of the decisions.
All right.
Personally, I think it's a provincial money grab.
All right.
I do not agree with it. My son-in-law was with the forces for 30 years. And his son only now can shoot a pellet gun. He's into cadets, and I think he's 14 years old, 13 years old. But I put a rifle in his hand. I offered the opportunity to take him and his son to the rifle range. He said, no, ain't going to happen. He's too young. So anyway, there's my point of view. That's all I have to say.
There you go.
Anybody
Al?
else comment on it?
Thank you so very much, Al. Appreciate your call. Listen, we're coming up on 11:58. So sorry to the calls we didn't get to this morning, but I'm sure there will be another opportunity for that open line later on this week. All right, it is 11:58. I'm Lisa Blackburn. You're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Blackburn.
And welcome back to the Todd Veinotte Show. I am Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, sitting in the chair for today. Dan is back tomorrow to take over the spot. I promised him nothing but to keep the building standing. So what is going on in the world? Well, the federal government is set to roll out a pilot project right here in Nova Scotia. It's part of the plan to buy back assault-style firearms from individual owners. So the program is set to begin in select areas of Cape Breton. It's going to serve as a test run before the entire program is expanded across the country. The idea being, of course, to make sure that everything goes smoothly here before it goes national. Well, starting October 1st, gun owners in those areas, they can go online to a new federal web portal and file what's called a Declaration of Interest. When you do that, you have two options. You can either choose to deactivate your firearm through a licensed gunsmith, or you can turn it directly into the police. More than $700 million has been set aside for this buyback effort, and that's a pretty hefty sum that's already sparked some debate. Critics include firearms right advocates, conservative MPs, They are arguing that the target for this is nothing more than law-abiding gun owners and really is a poor use of taxpayers' dollars. 12,000 firearms so far have been collected from businesses across the country, about $22 million in compensation paid out in just the program's first phase. So to help us unpack some of the politics behind this decision, we are joined this morning by Dr. Lori Turnbull, political science professor at Dalhousie University. Welcome and good morning.
Good morning, Lisa. Thanks for having me.
I guess we've reached afternoon now. We've reached peak afternoon.
Right.
So, why Cape Breton? Why do you think this is being, piloted in Cape Breton?
Yeah, when I heard that, it struck me on the kind of Nova Scotia side as opposed to Cape Breton. Like, it occurred to me, all right, there's a response in terms of what happened with the mass shooting a few years ago. And it struck me that maybe the federal government wanted to recognize that and recognize the trauma that the Nova Scotia community has gone through by starting the pilot here.
Yeah.
Why Cape Breton in particular? I don't know. And I'm a Cape Bretoner.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure why they're doing it there.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, is this about testing logistics or is it more testing the political waters out this way?
Yeah, I kind of feel like it's that, right? Like just to kind of see what the response will be. And maybe, not always, but sometimes Cape Breton is kind of a place that the Liberals can call home. And maybe they think, starting it there as opposed to starting it in, someplace in Alberta, maybe some of the response will be more positive for them. But this has been so, this whole thing has been such a mess.
Oh.
In terms of the handling of the whole file at the political level of the federal government. Yeah. I'm not sure what they can do to erase that tape at this point.
No, that's, that ship has sailed because you're absolutely right. I mean, critics are saying that this program unfairly targets the law-abiding gun owners. The supporters argue that it's about public safety. Where do you see this balance between the intent of the policy and the political messaging on this one?
Right. I mean, it always struck me that, the Trudeau government, of course, this isn't really something that the Carney government is lifting off as its own policy.
No.
This was something that started back with Justin Trudeau. And I can certainly understand the politics of wanting to look responsive on the gun file and acknowledging the kinds of public safety issues that are out there, the sorts of tragedies that have happened, not only in Nova Scotia, but in Montreal years ago. These are things that the Liberals, I think, really want to seem responsive on. People have complained about the value for money. They've complained about, the politics of it, but is this actually going to achieve what you want to achieve? And are you going to make the streets any safer by doing this? Yeah. And I certainly take the point around this is going to affect law-abiding gun owners, in a way that they're the ones that are going to carry the burden of this thing because they're going to comply. They're going to give their gun back. They're going to deactivate it, right? As opposed to somebody who is not interested in being a law-abiding gun owner.
Well, and, the main issue, too, being that as soon as you utter the words gun buyback, it just becomes a rural-urban issue. Those two sides are so entrenched in their thinking that, politically, how do you even try to navigate something like that?
Honestly, I don't know if the Liberals are trying to navigate that. Yeah. Maybe Carney is, but I never got the sense that Justin Trudeau gave a crap about how his policies flew in rural Canada. Like obviously the Liberals are very highly represented in the metro parts of the country. The Liberal Conservative split on the rural-urban fault line, that is a time-tested tradition, but it holds today as much as ever.
Yeah.
And I think, of course, there are some exceptions to that, but at the end of the day, the Liberals are looking at those metro areas as where they come up with their government, whether it's a minority or majority. Yeah. The Conservatives have to look, too, at how they, if they want to appeal large enough to form a government, how they can dig into some of those metro areas. And I think we can see the Conservatives doing that, talking more about crime issues, home invasions, car thefts, things like that. But I don't really see, again, the Liberals changing their tune on this in order to try to capture a rural vote. And again, with the minister, being recorded on tape saying, I don't think this is going to work either, that doesn't help.
Well, no, exactly. I mean, that's just, that just adds fuel to the fire from people who are already opposed to this.
100%. And it makes it look like the government doesn't have a serious gun strategy, right? Like if you've got the minister, it's not just that, even if we were to accept the critics' points on this and say, here's $700 million, this is not actually going to make the streets any safer. Even if you took all that, okay, fine. What else are they doing, right? Like it's what are they doing to address those issues around crime and home invasions and car thefts and things like that? I think there's going to be legislation coming. Carney is going to put forward legislation on bail reform and things like that. But there's a much broader conversation happening around the crime issue in Canada. And I think that's one of the big reasons that Carney ended up not getting a majority, because a lot of people in Ontario especially, and even in Nova Scotia, I think there were more conservative votes in Nova Scotia than the pollsters thought there was going to be.
Absolutely.
But even the night of the election, right up until they started counting the votes, the pollsters were saying it was going to be a Liberal majority. And I think the polls missed the number of people who started listening to the Conservatives more on crime.
Yep. And, I just brought up the quote here that the Minister of Public Safety, he was quoted as saying, he was caught on a hot mic saying, "I just don't think municipal police services have the resources to do this." Coming from the municipal space, I guarantee it, that they don't have the resources to do this. And it's just, for me, it's just another thing that's downloaded onto the municipality.
Yeah, which is a patchwork situation across the country, as you know, right? In some cases, you've got a municipal police force. In some cases, it's a provincial. Sometimes the RCMP that's providing police services in a local municipality. Yep. And so, the enforcement issue, of course, is going to be a major part of this, and that's going to be inconsistent across the country. And so thinking about that, right, like the feds, it's the usual thing. The feds announce a program, and it's like, okay, who's going to do the work to make sure this actually happens?
Exactly. Yeah, and the way it's going to shake down in Cape Breton is people who have a valid gun license, they'll be notified by RCMP that they're eligible to participate. And then, of course, on October 1st, that online portal opens up, and that's where gun owners can decide what it is they're going to do. But, if they are interested in participating, then they get an appointment with Cape Breton Regional Police, and they make the arrangements for the collection of firearms. So you're absolutely right. I mean, this is something that is going to be downloaded onto the municipalities to maintain.
Yeah, and to be doing the work of going and meeting with people and I mean, they're the ones who are going to be having the conversations, right? Like, I mean, it's one of those things, like many of our issues, whether it's the housing crisis, whether it's healthcare, whatever, there are so many things that feds can say that what they want to do, but the other governments are the ones that really have to be on the front lines of it.
Yep.
And we will see. We will see how this pilot project goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, thank you so very much, Dr. Lori Turnbull, political science professor at Dalhousie University. Thank you so much for helping us unpack that.
Thank you. It's great to talk to you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye. It is 12:15. We're going to take a quick break. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Burn.
And welcome back to the Todd Veinotte Show. I am indeed Lisa Blackburn for one more day. Well, I'll continue being Lisa Blackburn after today, but I won't be in this chair. Dan is back tomorrow. And we're going to talk about some transit in other parts of the province now. Residents out in East Hants are being asked to weigh in on a new proposal. And this one could bring a bus service to that area for the very first time. It sounds all promising, but the price tag has some folks wondering if it's going to be tough to convince residents to accept higher taxes for a service that they may or may not use. The municipality is looking at a fixed-route electric bus system, stops that would include Lance, Elmsdale, Enfield, and even go as far as the airport. Supporters saying that this could help connect communities, make East Hants more accessible for workers and families. But there is a catch. While the region is growing fast with 5,000 new housing units expected by 2043, it's that kind of population density that is still years away. So, is now the right time to invest in transit, or should the municipality wait until that growth takes hold? Joining us to talk about it is Councillor Michael Perry. Michael Perry represents District 8, Mount Uniacke-South Rawdon. Welcome.
Lisa, thank you for having me today. It's good to be here.
Oh, excellent to have you. So, let's take a wide view on this. Why now? What is driving council to explore transit service for East Hants?
Well, council has always had their eyes on transit for East Hants for the 3 terms that I've been on council so far for. And it's just one of the things with regional transportation, federal initiatives. We just continued on with seeing our population growth of what transit may look like. And it's just time that we've got to the step where it's public consultation time, where, council doesn't make any decisions until we hear from the public. That's the major thing that we're going for.
And now when you're talking about transit in East Hants, are you talking about connecting communities to one another, or are you more focused on a commuter route that will take folks from East Hants into the city?
So currently in East Hants, we have a non-for-profit service called Community Rider.
Yes.
And they provide a instrumental service within our community that services the whole municipality of East Hants. They go beyond Elmsdale and Enfield in the corridor area, out to Mount Uniacke in the rural area. We don't want a service like that to be impacted negatively by any transit that comes along. We look to partner with them if anything was to go forward. The initial thing is, before you do anything with transit, you have to start somewhere. Yeah. So the first route we're looking at is in the more densely populated area, or going to be densely populated. And the number of airport workers that live in the Elmsdale, Lance, and Enfield areas, this might be a way to encourage them to take the bus, get some cars off the road, kind of go along with the green initiative and stuff. But as I said before, we've been kicking this around for a long time, and it's time to have the public weigh in on what they want.
The numbers seem to be a bit of an issue for some. I mean, what kind of costs are we looking at for this proposed system? And, how does that translate into property tax bills for residents? What are they looking at for this?
So we just got the numbers for the first time at our last council meeting before we voted to send this to public consultation, so the public could know what some of these numbers are. And lots of concerns were raised by many councillors. So in the area of service, there would be an additional cost put on the urban service rate for that area to help cover the cost of that transit. But there's also a cost to the general tax rate, which affects everybody in the municipality.
Right.
And so all the people I represent, we're the farthest part from that area of the municipality. And so it's kind of alarming when I look at it in that way as, what is fair and what can we handle at this time? Because as we all know, things aren't getting any easier at the home budgets.
No. And certainly, startup costs too. I mean, that's getting this up and rolling, no pun intended. I mean, literally that takes a lot of capital up front.
It does. And right now, one of the reasons why this proposal is coming to the public with some of these numbers is there are some major grants and some major things, federal and provincial initiatives that could be coming out to offset that startup cost. And more or less, it's the operational cost that will probably be borne on the general tax rate.
Right.
And that there, too, again, as a councillor from my area, I have some questions about that myself.
Yeah. So I know that the province is doing the Joint Regional Transportation Initiative. Is there any involvement, cross-pollination between that and what you're doing?
Well, we've been working on our own. We hired a consultant to do a study for us, and this is the study we're taking out to the public for the feedback on. However, as the province moves forward and more details of their plan get known, maybe the two could amalgamate at some point into a different plan that we could take back to the public at a different date. But as of right now, the provincial plan is so much in its infancy that we don't know the finite details. They're talking about a bus route between Truro and Halifax. We don't know where it's going to stop. We don't know the frequency. We don't know how many buses and things like that. So until those details are known, we're going to continue working on our plan. And then as we know more, we can integrate more with our stuff at the staff level.
Okay. And I guess that's, some residents saying that they'd be paying for a service they may never use. That's what you're hearing from your residents? I'm
hearing that from my residents and other residents. And I mean, in council, I brought up the question of whether the density in the area is where it needs to be.
Right.
We currently have a height restriction in that area for building apartment buildings at three levels if made of of wood, 4 if you do concrete. And to get the real population density you need from traveling to the country, for whether it's the Federation of Canadian Municipality conferences and stuff, you really look at that. It's the 6 to 7, 6 to 8 range. Having a few of those buildings clustered, that really gives you the population node to travel. So we do have a lot of density coming to the area.
Yeah, I was going to say there's a lot coming. Just the Enfield, Elmsdale area alone. Those main streets are bustling now.
Yes,
yeah.
And Lance is going to double in population once Kiln Creek and Clayton Developments finishes out. So
they don't call it Lovely Lively Lance for nothing.
so in that area, it's really one of the things. Is this the right time? Is transit going to come in the future? Possibly, but we're evaluating now if this is the right time for transit, because you do have a large section of people in the rural area and the suburban area, like where I represent through Mount Uniacke and Rawdon, that this service wouldn't come to us, but a secondary route may be in partnership with Halifax, going to Upper Sackville, and then transitioning that way.
Now you're speaking my language.
Might work, but again, there's a lot more analysis and a lot more discussion that has to happen before any of those things get on paper.
Yeah, excellent. And I guess if this does come to pass, it'll be an electric fleet that you're looking at?
Yes, we've evaluated electric and hybrid models of vehicles, and the returns on what we got from the vendors and from some of the users that use electric buses across the country tell us that starting off with electrified feed is probably our best way, because they have the lowest maintenance required.
Oh, really?
Yes, just like an electric vehicle.
I suppose, there's few moving parts.
Yes.
That
you're not doing
down.
oil changes and things like that, and some of that maintenance. So that is one of the attractive things in that way. But then again, you need to have all your engineers, your electricians, and everything like that.
Yep. So okay, and where are we in the process?
So right now, no decision has been made. We've gotten the report from our consultants that we put out to tender, and now the next part of that is sharing that report with the public and getting their feedback and seeing what their thoughts are and what their feelings are, and then from there we'll come back to council and we'll see where it goes from here, whether we move forward, whether we table it again for another few years as we allow that population to grow out, or we pull the trigger and we go on with doing transit. But there'll have to be some conversations around numbers in my mind.
Alrighty, and where can folks find out information on where the meetings are?
So the meetings will be posted on the municipal website under the municipality of East Hants.ca, and all the information will be there on our calendar, and all the communities that are affected will receive notification. All
right. Councillor Michael Perry from District 8 in Mount Uniacke-South Rawdon, thank you so very much for joining us this morning. Or
no
this
worries.
Afternoon, I guess. We're into afternoon now.
No, and thank you for having me, and thank you for taking interest in our little part of Nova Scotia.
Oh, my pleasure. It is 12:27. We're going to take a quick break for the news, but when we come back, we're going to be talking to Dalhousie University's students who are not going to be offered tuition refunds. So we'll talk to student union reps when we come back. It is 12:28. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Blackburn.
All right, we are into the final half hour of the Todd Veinotte Show, and Dalhousie University has announced that it's not going to be offering tuition refunds to students impacted by last month's lockout, which suspended numerous courses just at the start of the fall semester. So the lockout began on August 20th, lasted 3 weeks, and it affected all courses taught by members of the Dalhousie Faculty Association. Now, I think classes have resumed following the union's overwhelming vote to ratify a new 3-year collective agreement. But, during and after the lockout, the Dalhousie Student Union has been calling for financial compensation for students who lost valuable class time because of the labor dispute. So joining us now to discuss the student perspective is Maren Mealey. Maren is president of the Dalhousie Student Union. Welcome.
Hi there.
Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the Todd Veinotte Show.
Hi, proud to be here.
So listen, can you tell us how the lockout affected students day to day and what it was like for those who just suddenly had classes suspended for 3 weeks?
Yeah, there was a huge amount of impacts. And so when you're looking at the impacts on the fall semester, those were immense. I mean, in terms of the day-to-day, many students, their day-to-day was completely unscheduled, right? So many folks had no classes going on. Some people had a couple classes going on that were taught by instructors that are not DSA members. So you might have had a few folks who were here who had one class a week or maybe had an online class or two. But for the most part, folks weren't actually in classes, weren't around. And so we saw a lot of folks either on campus with not much to do, or people who were going back home, or people who waited to come here. And then there are lots of other day-to-day experiences that differ for folks. So for graduate students, there were lots of disruptions to research that happened as a result. For some people, there were disruptions to their actual ability to defend their theses. And so people were just not able to have a normal academic experience. Yeah.
So even though not all faculty were off the job, it was enough of the faculty that it really did disrupt most students' schedules.
Yeah, the vast majority. So about close to 90% of the teaching contracts are held by DSA members, and none of the classes that were taught by them were happening.
Okay, gotcha. So Dal has already publicly announced that they are not going to offer tuition refunds. You know, from the student union's perspective, what is this going to mean for students that missed class time and, you know, possibly face academic setbacks?
Yeah, as a student union, we firmly believe it's unacceptable for students to be paying any amount of tuition to classes that weren't running. And so while it is not surprising to us that Dal has formally announced that they are not giving tuition compensation, that is, of course, disappointing. But also, our position as the student union is just because that they've said that they're not willing does not mean that we're going to stop advocating for it. It was the right thing to advocate for a couple of weeks ago during the lockout, and it continues to be the right thing to advocate for because students were paying for a service, and we deserve to be able to access that service. And if that's not happening, that payment should not be expected of us.
So university has stated that they're making adjustments to the academic calendar and supporting instructors to ensure that students meet the requirements and complete their programs. But that doesn't go far enough?
No, because the changes to the dates have now made it so that instead of the normal 12 weeks of learning, we're down at 10 weeks of learning. And so while we're really glad that some of those adjustments have happened, things like reading week are very good, and a lot of these dates have been made with students in mind. That doesn't get around the fact that we're now down 2 weeks of learning. And compressing the semester is just not the same experience. I know for myself, it's not the same experience already. I've had many, many, many peers and friends who have been talking to me about their experiences in their classes, and while profs are trying their best, you're just not able to deliver the same sort of quality as you might have been able to if you had those full 12 weeks. And so we've lost the 2 weeks, but aside from that, the rest of the semester's quality has decreased as well. And so we really are asking for proportional compensation, which means compensation for those 2 weeks of lost class time, which represents close to 14% of tuition payments.
Wow, that's quite the chunk of change.
Yes, it is. When you're in a semester that is supposed to be 12 weeks, each week represents a large chunk of your semester. It's about 7%, which is why we're really pushing for this. It's not like it was just some small amount of time that there are no consequences to being lost. It has severe impacts on students, right?
And I guess the other piece, too, is the timing of all of this, the fact that it happened just as the fall academic year was starting. So I'm thinking that there was a lot of extra expenses that students may have incurred, with travel plans that, the decision was, do I come to Halifax even though, its classes aren't going? Do I wait? Have you heard many stories like that?
Yeah, it's definitely hard to know if it would be more or less cost if the disruption had happened at a different time, but there was a clear student cost. I know I had talked to many peers who had talked about if they had known it was going to last so long, they probably would have stayed at home and worked for longer because a lot of folks, they have seasonal employment, and so they stop their employment when they're going to come to university. And people had talked about wanting to work longer, but then not being sure about the timelines. Of course, the travel. I heard some folks were just having a very difficult time, especially in first year, being here all by themselves without classes, not really connecting yet with their community outside of the classroom. And so many of those folks traveled back home, and that's an additional cost too, right? Travel is expensive. And so there have been some pretty severe costs to students. I said this the whole time, but students deserve to be able to make plans with certainty, and we saw that broke down where they weren't afforded the certainty to decide when they're going to travel, when they're going to work, all of those things that have financial implications.
Yeah. So now when you say financial compensation, and that's what the student union is calling for, what does that look like for you? Are you talking about checks in hands? I mean, how does that look?
There's a few different ways that could look, and we're willing to talk to the university about the specific implementation of that. The bare minimum is that we just don't expect that tuition should be paid for that amount of time. So whether that looks like a credit being applied to someone's account so that their tuition's reduced for the next year, or if that looks like straight up getting checks in hand or financial compensation directly into people's bank accounts, that's something that we're looking forward to. And this is not something that's without precedent. We've seen Mount St. Vincent recently received some financial compensation for their students, Acadia as well. I know Memorial University. There have been many instances of faculty disruptions resulting in compensation for students. And we think that the precedent should even be more true because in this case, it was not that our faculty union decided to go on strike, but they themselves were locked out. And so it was the university's decision themselves to deprive us of our education, not a faculty association. And so we think the case is even stronger here that it is really the university who has caused this additional cost for students.
And I guess that is the key, isn't it? This was not a strike, it was a lockout, and those are two entirely different labor situations. So, so the union is steadfast in that this was a decision from Dal, and therefore they should pay compensation. Moving forward, what has it been like working with Dalhousie just to make sure that students can catch up and not fall behind? Are they willing to make some academic concessions to help students?
Yeah, it's been tricky. So many of the academic decisions live not with the higher up Dalhousie administrators, but within individual departments, which has meant that the return to school has looked very differently depending on what program you're in. And so some programs have had a much easier time adjusting back. There have been some programs where that has been a little bit more rocky. And then even getting down to the individual faculty members, it depends on how they're able to adjust their course load. And so it's been tricky. We've been working with the Associate VP Academic for the university to try to really stress that there are lots of impacts on students. But it does boil down very differently depending on your classes, and that's been a real challenge and a concern. I know one of our executives with the DSU talked the other day about one of their classes having only 3 graded pieces of work, 2% being participation, and then 48% being a midterm, 50% being an exam. And that's just, an extraordinary academic burden on students if they're having schoolwork to be graded so largely and weighted so heavily.
Wow. Well, I know that students have held some sit-ins at Dal in the last few days. Do you know if any more of those are planned in the coming days?
Yeah, I think it's likely that you'll see some more student action to come. I know on the student union side of things, we're continuing to plan. We're continuing to figure out what the best way is to mobilize students. Students are very frustrated. That email from Dal that said that they were not planning on refunding any tuition did not land well against students, as you might expect. And so people are ready to continue to mobilize, continue to show up. And I think students have a decent understanding that as students, we really are the largest stakeholders in the university. We contribute the most to this institution, and as such, we also have amongst the most power in this institution. And so I'm sure you can expect to hear of some more actions in the coming days and weeks as we continue to pursue this fight to get our tuition compensation.
All right. Maren Mealey, president of the Dalhousie Student Union, thank you so very much for your time and telling your story today.
Thank you so much for having me on.
All right, our pleasure. Thank you so much. It is 12:45. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, tomorrow is Truth and Reconciliation Day here in Canada. I'm Lisa Blackburn from Forward Strategies, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio. Back in a moment.
Burn.
Good afternoon. It is 12:48, and you are indeed with the Todd Veinotte Show. Tomorrow is Truth and Reconciliation Day here in Canada, a time to reflect, to listen, and to walk together into the future. The Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Centre is inviting all of us to do just that, with a very special gala happening this Saturday. The event honors Mi'kmaq History Month. It recognizes the 300th anniversary of the inaugural Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1725, a milestone in our shared history. And the gala is more than just a celebration. It's going to reflect the growing national momentum towards realizing the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action, but also going to make an important chapter in the Friendship Centre's journey as a gathering place and a place that advocates for Indigenous peoples here in Halifax. The Wije'winen okay, I knew I was going to screw that one up. Wije'winen Kjipuktuk Gala promises a full night of music, culture, and community. And joining us this morning to tell us more about the gala and the significance is Cheyenne Labrador, Associate Executive Director of the Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Centre. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, I think we got the microphone on there. Perfect. All right, thank you so much. Listen, Cheyenne, can you tell us about Truth and Reconciliation Day? What does that mean for the Mi'kmaq community here in Kjipuktuk?
Well, I think as we come up on the day tomorrow, we're hosting an event at the Friendship Centre, and it's a time for everyone to come together. So it doesn't matter if you're Indigenous or non-Indigenous, coming together and really talking about those truths and what does reconciliation look to everyone individually. We're wanting to share the culture and share some of our traditions and our knowledge and, really showcase some of the beautiful things that we're experiencing in our culture. That doesn't come without some of the harms of the past, but it's about learning about those things and educating ourselves on how we can do better moving forward.
And I guess that's what it's all about. It's about educating yourself so we can walk together into the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's talk about the gala a bit. 300th anniversary of the Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1725. That's a long time ago. Is it still as significant today as it was in 1725?
Absolutely. I think that they're just as significant, if not more significant today. There's so many of us that we're all living and working and playing in Kjipuktuk and Halifax, and really, seeing how we can do that all together as allies and being friends and community all together. So looking at those treaties and what they stood for then and what they stand for now. So really focusing on how we can all be a part of community and help uphold those beliefs and what they really stand for.
Yeah. And I guess, this is part, like you said, of the broader effort to respond to the Truth and Reconciliation Commission's calls to action. It's a fun way, I guess. I hate to say a fun way, but it's learning with a purpose.
It absolutely is. And, there's still so much work to be done. We've been working on things for several years, for decades now. But we also have to think about the work that we're doing in the future. Mm-hmm. So really, everyone coming together and we're having fun, but we're learning while we're doing that.
Exactly. And so some specifics about the gala. What can they expect this weekend?
So we are going to be showcasing some talent. We have Crystal Shawanda and Morgan Tony that will be at the event. We're also going to have knowledge keepers and elders and just some community and really focusing on, some of those traditions and the culture, having some really great food. Mm-hmm. We're looking forward to that, of course. We're also doing an auction to raise money for the new Friendship Centre.
Which brings me to my next topic of conversation, the new Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Centre. I remember being there for the groundbreaking. What are the updates? How's it going?
It's going well. Construction is underway. There is quite a hole at the space right now, but we do have plans to build a beautiful building within the next couple of years. So really focusing on having those culturally safe programs and services within that building and having a space where we can see ourselves and we can celebrate our culture and traditions and, share that with the broader community as well.
Excellent. And are there going to be opportunities once that new Friendship Center is open to go and learn? I mean, for non-Native, non-Indigenous people to go and learn about the history?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Friendship Center, we have an open door policy, so we are open to everyone. Some programs and services are more tailored and individualized for Indigenous folks, but the new center will really showcase the culture and traditions and have space for Indigenous and non-Indigenous folks to come together and be together as one community.
Excellent. And so the gala is Saturday night. Where is it taking place?
It is at the Halifax Convention Center.
Oh, excellent. Okay. And tickets are still available?
There are limited tickets still available. You can get them on our website, Wije'winen.com.
Okay.
So, we would love to have a full house.
All right. Excellent. And I guess, if just to go back to the broader topic of Truth and Reconciliation Day, when people ask, what can I do? What should I do to commemorate this day? What do you tell them?
I always take it back to education and how we can continue to learn and take opportunities to learn and uphold those Indigenous voices. So being a great ally means supporting the Indigenous communities and the Indigenous people around you to make sure that their voices are heard.
Mm-hmm. And, certainly there are many ways that you can do that to educate yourself.
Absolutely. There's all kinds there's websites and there's books and, celebrations in the community, lots of events that are taking place. We have the event tomorrow at the Friendship Center. So it's a great opportunity to come out and learn about some of the programs and services and what we're doing for the community.
Yeah. And the theme this year is stories and storytellers. Did I get that right?
I believe so, yes. Really showcasing some of those storytellers and all of the knowledge that is held within those stories.
Excellent. We're going to see some of that on Saturday night at the gala?
I can't let go of too many secrets. You'll have to buy some tickets and join us. But there will be lots of entertainment and great traditions and culture.
All righty. And sorry, you said tickets, you can get tickets at the Friendship Center?
Yes. On the website, you can go to Wije'winen.com and buy tickets on there.
Excellent. All right. The 300th anniversary of the Peace and Friendship Treaty of 1725. Expect to hear more about that coming up this weekend. Cheyenne Labrador, Associate Executive Director of the Mi'kmaq Native Friendship Center. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, explaining a little bit about the gala and setting the stage for Truth and Reconciliation Day here in Halifax. Kjipuktuk, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, it is 12:56, and listen, before we step out and I turn things over to Rob Snow, I just want to say thank you so very much to the 95.7 News Radio team for the warm welcome and for all of your support. Vanessa, thank you so much for your patience, girl, and thank you to the crew at Forward Strategies for the freedom to take this on. Also, thank you to all of our callers this morning for making me feel so welcome, and Rob Snow is on the other side of the news. It is 12:57. I'm Lisa Blackburn, and you're listening to 95.7 News Radio.